Okay, so let us get started. So we are in the Raja Guhya Yoga. Okay, the most confidential knowledge. Let us start with the obeisance to Sri Radharada Govinda. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Nanaka Shalakaya Chakshurmita Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Namo Abhishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavscha Sri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vittam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakana Vittamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dino Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatru Abhyascha Kripa Sindhu Abhyayevacha Patitam Nam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desha Tarine Jayo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So let's get started. So now we have come to the Bhakti Yoga section. That is from 7 to 12. Okay. So what did we do in chapters just in the last two chapters? Started with Jnana Vijnana Yoga, where the Krishna Lord is giving about himself. That is, he has told in the end of 6th chapter that we need to fix our mind on the Lord. Yogi, that is the best yogi, who is all the time thinking on the Lord and the thing. So that was there. And then now he started this telling Arjuna that he is the source of everything. That is then he describes his energies, the material world. It is the inferior energy, and the supreme and the spiritual world, the superior energy. And we living entities come under the superior energy. But once when we come and entangled in this material world, we get conditioned. Okay. So we are in threshold. Either you can fall towards material energy, or you can fall to the other. You can cross the threshold and come into the spiritual energy. Okay. You get conditioned because you get by the identity we have, we think we are the body. And then, but it is so powerful, the material world, because it's a divine energy by the Lord. And Krishna says, unless you surrender to me, you will not be able to cross this ocean. So then to surrender there, he talked about 4 people who surrendered to him and why they don't also. Then, so we got that knowledge. And then he says, people who will be in that Bhakti Yoga, they will remember me even at the time of death. So Arjuna wanted more clarification. How people can remember him at the time of death? Only by Abhyasa and Yukta. So then, and he gives more verses saying that they will just remembering him at the final hour, you will go back to him without doubt. That's also it. But that is it possible? Because at time of death, you might be thinking more about your will or your children, family, and so many other things. So only by Ananya Bhakti you can. That's what we saw in the last chapter. And also again, he talked about the spiritual world and the material world. Material world is Dukkhalaya. And to that, for us to come out of Dukkhalaya, we need to go back. Okay. Then Ananya Bhakti. Now, in this chapter, he is going to talk, giving the most confidential knowledge. He says that is the king of education. That is about the Lord. And by practicing this Ananya Bhakti, pure bhakti, we can go back to him. And Krishna is partial to enable. For this, he says you have to be non-envious and faith. Should have faith in this process, spiritual world and the material. So unless we know, see, it's not enough to tell you have to detach from this world, but we need to go somewhere, isn't it? That is to the spiritual. So this chapter has 4 sections. First, it glorifies the knowledge about him, about the Rajya Vidya, and then his relationship with this world. Because, he's there with us and how we are related. Then different type of worshippers and the glories of Krishna's bhakti. So, Supreme Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tu te guratamam pravashyami anushoyave danam vijnana sahitam etnatva mokshase asubhati. Subhat. The Supreme Lord said, my dear Jina, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of the material existence. So, what is this miseries of material existence we have? Hare Krishna, what is the miseries? Or remember the 4 things we said? Old age, disease, birth, and death.
Birth, death, old age, disease.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. So this is a thing which I shall, because you are never envious of me. What do you mean by envy? Can anyone elaborate on that? Envy means what? Hare Krishna, anybody? Prabhuji? Can try. Anyone can try that. Envy means what? Jealous. Some people will think it is jealous. Envy means, see, envy is not jealous alone. Okay. It is like this. I like what you have, but I don't like the fact that you are having it. I mean, that you should not have it. It is me who should have it. That is envy. See, what you have and I like that, that is jealousy. But envy is, I like what you are having, but I don't. So here Krishna is saying to Arjuna, you are not envious to me. So I shall impart to you this sacred wisdom. Even when he was talking in chapter 4, he was saying, I'm giving this knowledge to you because you are my dear friend and my devotee. So this transcendental knowledge, we have to be a devotee and a dear friend, and we should not envy the Lord. Okay. So I'm going. And what is he going to give us? In this Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avyay. What is this Raja Vidya? This knowledge is the king of education. See, the material world, what are we having the education there? How to live in this world and to get a job. Okay, mostly it is for the job and for the survival, right? To take care of a body, to take care of the family, to take care of the things. So we have, that is the materiality. But it is not the king of education. And why it says is king is because knowing this, we are able to cross this birth, death cycle. So it's a king of education. And it's the most secret of all secrets. It's the Raja Guhyam. It's a Guhyam. It's a secret of all the secrets. Because it's called, see, anything which is valuable is always a secret, isn't it? And it is, even if you tell everyone, they won't understand. It is a very precious knowledge. So it's a secret for all secrets. And it's purest. That is Uttamam. It is coming from the Lord itself. So the knowledge will be pure, Uttamam. And because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is perfect. Because knowing this, we will be able to realize the Lord. That is the self-realization. That is, we will come to know our true identity. So it is a perfection of religion. and it is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. And it is everlasting, and it is not something knowledge which is there, it is not there tomorrow or anything. It is always there, everlasting. And if you understand this, you will joyfully perform. You will take the thing. This is the Aishid. So this knowledge which is going to impart in this chapter is very secret of all secrets, king of Vijay. That is why it is called Raja Vidya, because we will be able to understand the self-realization. Supreme Lord said, my dear Jina, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this more secret wisdom, knowing which, that is what he said. Why? Raja Vidya, because we will also be relieved from the miseries of material existence. But he also is another condition. Those who are not faithful on the path of devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of foes, but return to birth and death in this material. So we need to be, qualification is non-envious, and we have to be faithful in this devotional service. Whatever we are practicing, we should be faithful. We should have faith in that. So why confidential? First we gave a confidential knowledge that is in chapter 2 itself. That is our spirit soul. We are the soul and not the body. So it is just knowing that theory just gives us that we should, it will be useful for liberating from this side. Okay. But it won't help us unless we know more about the Lord. We won't be able to apply it. So then we got much more confidential knowledge. That is the knowledge on the Lord, His energies, and the Krishna Pasha. How should we be in the consciousness of the Lord? Only then we can remember him even at the time of death, and we'll be able to really get the relief from this material world. So that was more attain enlightenment. That is chapter 7 and 8. And then now is the most confidential, where he says that pure bhakti is the one which is able to and portrays the glories of. So first we came to know about the soul, our identity. And then we came to know that we are part and parcel of him. And then why we need to know that? Because and now he is telling us how to go back to him. How to go back to him. Because we have forgotten our true identity, and we are thinking this is our permanent place, and we are trying to build a permanent place. But actually this material world is Dukkalya and Ashashvatam. That is, it's temporary. Okay. So that's the thing he's saying. And now what? Only by devotional service we have to go. And we should be faithful. We should have faith in this service. Okay. Non-envious and faith. So Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina matsani sarva bhutani na chaham tesha avastita. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So it looks like a thing, but is there everywhere. Is there uniform form in the entire universe, whether it is cosmic manifestation or cosmic universe or in the spirit, is there and everywhere, but is there in us also. But I'm not in them. That means he's there everywhere. We can feel him in different form. Okay. Then, and yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, although I'm everywhere, still myself is the very source of creation. Doesn't mean that once he is here that he won't be in another place. Like the sun. The sun is in my house also, and it's also in another person's house. It's also in another part of the country. Like that, isn't it? Sun is everywhere. It's there with us and with their also. Okay, but if you close the windows and everything and make it dark, it's not there. It's up to us. Okay, that's maybe. So all beings are in me, but I'm not in them. This gives a nice example here. Krishna says, understand as the mighty wind blowing everywhere, rest always in the sky. It doesn't go out of the sky, isn't it? The wind will be, the air is within the sky itself. Just like that, all created beings rest in me. Okay. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature. At the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. So when there's an annihilation, we saw, no, in last chapter, there'll be annihilation at the end of, when there's a night for the Brahma, or when the whole, at the end of the life of Brahma. So then we go back into the womb of the Lord, and then he will again create this entire universe. It's not just our universe alone. There'll be so many globes which are coming. All will go back to him at his will, and again he will create the next thing. Okay. So the whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again. Under my will, it is annihilated at the end. Okay. So he is the source of that. There has to be one total under control, the absolute. Okay, he's the cause of all causes, whether to create or to annihilate or to manifest and to maintain everything. Oh Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I'm ever detached, seated as though neutral. It looks that nothing is being done by him, but it is being done. All you need to do is just a glance at it, and by just his willing, by desiring itself, it takes place. Okay. Maya daksha prakriti suyata characharam hetu anena kaunteya jagat vipravirvati. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation created and annihilated again and again. So he keeps telling, so we can come to know that he is the supreme person and he is a supreme object of worship. Once we know that he is the cause of everything and he is maintaining everything, then isn't it right that he should be the supreme object for worship? And this is his relation with the material creation. Okay, this is how he is related. You can't think that he just created and is away somewhere. No. And it is working automatic, but he is there everywhere. In every, no blade of grass can move without his will. So does Krishna come under the influence of Maya when he comes in uniform? That's what the people think. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that. If he comes in human form, then he will forget. Like we are in the uniform, we forget our past and we don't know what a future could be and all that. But he is not like that. When he comes in his transcendental form. Only thing to our eyes, we know it is just a human form. So he says, Avijñāti ma mūda manusham tanum ashritam param bhavam ajananto ma bhuta maheshwara. So he thinks, but my supreme, they don't understand my supreme. So when he was here, he did all inconceivable time of activities, isn't it? He lifted the cow and then hill, then he even that when he was the Damodar month, no, then the mother tied him into a motor like thing, no, and he pulled it and fell. Two trees fell, and from there it relieved two sons of Kuvera, Nala Kuvera Mani. They were relieved from their curse. But he could do it when he was just a 3-year child, and he could topple the trees which were there for many, many years, hundreds of years. And then he did so many things, even with Kalia, then the way he went and fought with Kalia. So many feats, with all the demons which came when he was young, and even Putana, the way he sucked the life of the Putana Rakshas. So many things which we cannot believe, but it is all because he is in transcendental nature. Even coming out from the prison, from the Kamsa's prison, he just made way for Vasudev to bring him to Vrindavan, isn't it? So everything is not Maya. It is his energy, its nature, its transcendental nature. And we think that he is from human form. But the fools only derive. And he tells why. Why then do some people not respect him? Now he's telling the reason. Mogasta moga karmano mogi gnana vijetsaha rakshasim asurim chaiva prakriti mohinim shrita. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by the demonic and rakshasim asurim, the demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fugitive activities and culture of knowledge are all defeated. So because they think like that, and they are what they have this nature of demonic, and because they are more atheistic and things, for them the hopes for mukti or freedom from this cycle of birth is not there. They don't get it. So they are by the Shishupal also, no? This is the Shishupal getting thing. What is Ananya Bhakti then? Then what is it that we need to understand? Mahatmanas tu mam pata daivyam prakritim ashritaha bhajanti ananya manaso jnatva bhutadvam avyayam. Anyone can read this because this tells us how pure bhakti is, Ananya Bhakti is. Any volunteer? Hare Krishna.
O son of Pratha, those who are not deluded, the great souls are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional services because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and
Inexhaustible.
yeah, I think on my screen that question didn't come.
Okay, inexhaustible, avyaya. Okay, so he says is avyayam, that is inexhaustible, inconceivable. Oh Pratha, those who are knowledge, the great souls, Mahatmanas, what they do, they come under his protection, Daivim Shakti. So Daivim Prakritim Ashraya. So they took the shelter of that because, and they know firmly that the Lord is the original and is a inconceivable potency. So because they understand him, he is the cause of all cause, they will fully engage in devotional service. They always are all the time in the devotional service for the Lord because they know everything is running by the Lord. So when they are in that situated, they come under his protection. So though they are in the material world, they don't identify with this. They identify with the Lord. They think that, so they come under his protection, Daivim nature. So this is Madhavendra Puri. I think we have one, he is the spiritual master of Ishwara Puri, and Ishwara Puri was the spiritual master for Chaitanya Prabhu. Okay. And here's the story of how he will never go for begging alms, you know. If somebody comes and offers him food, then he'll have it. Otherwise, he won't. Otherwise, he's all the time doing his japa and meditating on the Lord. And this is one day in Vrindavan, when he was just meditating, there's a small boy will come to offer him a pot of milk. Okay, and the boy will be so beautiful and so thing and covered. So he'll ask, I've never asked for it. He said, no, there's people in the village, they saw you sitting and thing. So they sent me here to give you this pot of milk. And later I'll come and collect this pot. Then the evening comes and all that, but the boy never comes. Then Madhavendra sleeps off, dozes off, and then he gets a dream. In the dream, the same boy comes and says, see, I'm stuck in this bushes. And for so many years, please come and relieve me and give a place for me to stay. So then he realizes this is none other than the Krishna who had come and given him the instructions. So then later he takes the villager's help, goes to those bushes and finds a nice Gopinath's idol. And then they construct a temple. So he's the Mahatmas. You were all the time in the Ashraya of the Lord, okay? And there's a lot more pastimes are there. Madhavendra Puris is very nice to hear about it. But there is one of the example. They come under the protection of the divine nature, okay? And why do they engage in devotional service? Because they know him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is the origin, right? That is Ananya Bhakti. Okay, and what is the difference? And then why, when they are in divine nature, when they are in the Ashraya of the protection of the divine nature, then they are not caught in the Maya. That is, there are two Mahamayas. Mayas. Mahamaya is the illusion in the material world. Still, once, even if that curtain is removed, there's one more curtain where we have to cross that to get the Lord's mercy. That is Yoga Maya. Okay. And they are the Mahatmas who have crossed this Yoga Maya also. Okay. And they could get the Lord. And what they do, Mahatmas, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatansta Cha Dridda Vrata, with determination, Namasyantas Cha Mam Bhakteya Nitya Yukta Upasana. See, now he is describing the pure devotion. How the pure devotees, what they do and why they do. Okay. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So you see here how the Prabhupada, he was all the time glorifying the Lord and with great devotion, he was chanting, bowing, and the Sankirtana, okay, perpetually. So this is what the Ananya Bhakti involves. Okay, so all this is the chanting. But it is I who am the ritual, I am the sacrifice, offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant, I am the butter and the fire and the offering. Everything we see in the Vedas, no, there are a lot of rituals and all given to do the performance. He says every little thing I am, without, see, butter is not from us, the herbs, even the mantra is given, and every little thing which we use in the sacrifice is all comes from him. So he is the ritual, he is the Yogeshwara. I am the father of this universe, the mother, support, and grandson. I am the object of knowledge, purifier, and the syllable. I am also the Rig Veda, Samaveda, and Yajur Veda. So he is the creator. He says he's a creator and he's maintaining. So he is everything. So he says, I am the father of this universe. I am the support, mother, the support, and the grandson. I am the object of knowledge, purifier, and the syllable. Okay. Pitama Asya Jagato Mata Dharata Pitamaha Vedyam Pavitram Homkara Rit Sama Yajureva. So where we get and where we born, everything is decided by him. He is the father, mother. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and the eternal sea. So now he's talking about his glories. Now people think, my ear, one of the class somewhere saying, he doesn't it sound that he's very proud and he's talking, he's talking about himself. Then who will talk? Then who will tell about him? We have to know more and more in detail of what he does and how he maintains, how he thinks. Only he can tell us, is the thing, isn't it? About any other person, if I want to know about me, I should tell you what I've done and all, what I can do. But likewise, here Krishna is explaining. Why is he explaining all this? Because this is how the Mahatmas see and they understand. And that's why they are glorifying him, and that's why they are all the time doing devotional service to him. That's how they surrender to him, because of this. So these are the reasons. Oh, Jana, I control heat, the rain, the drought. I am immortality. I am also death personified. Both being and non-being are in me. He is the death. He is the Kala also, isn't it? He is the end. When he comes, he is the death personified too. That's also another energy. And annihilation is also another energy, isn't it? So he is there everywhere. Both being and non-being are in me. Those who studied, and there are people who study Vedas and they drink the Somajo seeking the heaven plan. So there are many rituals which show us how to worship, how to do that. So people who study, there are students they worship me indirectly. They take birth on the planet of Indra where they enjoy godliness, because they want, there are rituals there where they can, performing with such faith, they can even go to Indra Loka and drink Somajos. Okay. And think, but that kind of worship, he says, indirect, because Indra is reporting to the Lord, and you're worshipping Indra. That means you're worshipping the Lord indirectly. It's not the direct. And he doesn't stop you from doing it. He says, okay, go somewhere, you've power. But what happens? Here he is clarifying that they take the birth on the planet of Indra, where they will enjoy godly life. So when they have thus enjoyed heavenly sense pleasure, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, through Vedic principles, they achieve only flickering happiness, because they'll come back again. It's like this. Where is, will we go up and again you come back? So it is not that that is a permanent place. No, after your quota of your credit is over, you will have to come back to the mortal earth. So whatever you do, it is indirect worship, and also it is temporary. It's only for some many years you will enjoy, of course, and it may not be just 100 years, it might be much more, but after that you have to come back. So this is what he clarifies. But those who worship me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. So it doesn't mean that I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. That is Vahami Aham Shema. Yoga Kshemam Vahami Ham. He will preserve and he will take care of us. So here there's one story was there, Arjuna Acharya. He was, when he was writing the commentary on this Bhagavad Gita, when he came to this verse, he was thinking, how could Lord say, I carry what they lack and preserve what they have? It should have been like he will get it done. How can he personally come and do it? So he was contemplating that, and he said, this word may not be right. It should have been that he will get it done and not I will do it. So I carry what I like, he said. So he thought of that, and he scratched there, and then he went off to take his bath and, to take alms, to the village, and then he to come. So meanwhile, two boys will come to this Acharya's house, and with a whole lot of food and many things. And then the Acharya's wife will be surprised and say, and they'll be so beautiful also, and I think, And he says, from where? No, your master only sent this. Please unload it fast. He's very angry, and he told us to come and quickly give you all that. And even see the way he has in my forehead, he has struck me, saying that I'm very lazy. So please take everything, and they'll leave the place. She'll be perturbed. How can he be so cruel to such boys that so nicely they've come and given? And then she'll prepare the food and she'll have. Then when Acharya comes home, he sees his wife eating. He says, how come you are eating so without me and all? Then she says, I'm very angry with you. How can you be so cruel to those two boys? See, they brought so many things here, and you have hurt them also. Then he'll ask her, please describe those boys to me. And when she described, then she realized that the mistake he has made, because he says, I carry what they lack. And so he will personally come and give. You may think it is not possible, but he does. He will do it for his devotees. He will personally. And we saw in Mahabharata how he personally, he became a charioteer, and even to Draupadi, he came and gave the clothes, when they were trying to derobe. So for devotees, he will do whatever is need to be done. Personally, he will take care. And then when a man may sacrifice to other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone, but it is offered without true understanding. That is avidhi purvakam. So we think that we offer to pray to devatas and all the other demigods and all that. He says it is done indirectly, and it is also avidhi purvakam. It is done without true understanding. Our Prabhupada says, nobody is equal to him. But when we pray to the devatas, what happens? We are trying to have a contemporary, competitors. So that is not right, because devatas are there, or they are also true devotees. We need to respect them because they are devotees of the Lord, and they have been given certain portfolios to take care in this universe. Okay, so we have to understand that and then worship them. Otherwise, it is not right. He says you are doing it without understanding, proper understanding. They are placing so many competitors of the Supreme Lord. That is avidhi purvakam. That is illegal. Nobody can be competed to the Lord. No, Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord is known as Asamurdhava. Nobody is greater than the Supreme Lord, and nobody is equal. So nobody is the greatest. There has to be one at the top, You can't, I'll say, I pray to Shiva, I'll pray to Brahma, I'll pray to all this God, and I'll go and still reach the thing. No, they're all there with a specific role, specific responsibility, specific powers with them they have to take care of certain jobs. Yeah. And they do it all with the sanction of the Supreme. Otherwise, it's not. So here Krishna is clearly telling that you may do the sacrifice to the other gods, but they are doing it. It is meant for me alone, and it is offered with true understanding, without true understanding. And you might say that why is he allowing? He says, okay, you want to do it, do it. At least they have certain, you will strengthen that phase. Okay. Then slowly they will rise to this level. So first let them do it, and then they will come after some time. When they go and with more of trying to cultivate the knowledge, finally will come to this understanding. Otherwise, whatever they're doing for the time being, it is avidhi purvakam, without true understanding. And those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to there's a Prithvi Loka, there's Svarga Loka, and there's so many other lokas where they will go. But those who worship me will live with me. So, if you want, I showed you yesterday, the Goloka chart, how this universe and their different planets, 7 and 7 below. And then how there is Vaikuntha above that, and above that is Goloka. So, if they worship the Supreme Lord, he clearly is telling that they will come back to me. They will live with me. So, we think there are many ways to the Lord, but there's only one way. We have to worship to the Supreme, to go back to the Supreme abode. I am only the enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. So he says, even in chapter, he's continuously, consistently telling the same, and he's also in the other scriptures too, that he is the enjoyer, he is the master of things, he is the Maheshwara. But he is a true well-wisher of us. Because he's a true well-wisher of us, that he comes down to give us this Bhagavad Gita, to understand, make us understand. And also he sends now and then the acharyas to come and uplift us. Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tad aham bhakti upahartam asanam asnami pradat manah. This one, please, this is a very famous thing. Can anyone recite the translation, please? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit or water, I will accept it.
So, doing devotional service can be done by anyone, by a poor person or a rich person or learned person or ignorant person, anybody. He says, just offer me with love. That's all he needs, with love and devotion. What? Even if you offer a flower, a leaf, a tulsi leaf, or a flower, or a fruit, or a water, I will accept it. All he needs is, you have to think of him, worship him with love and devotion. Just offer patram pushpam phalam toyam. So he says that with bhakti upartam, and only that I will accept it. So this is how the devotional service, anybody cannot do it. And then, O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you perform, should be done as an offering unto me. So all the 4 things, whatever you do, even eating is also, and whatever you offer, give away as well. Oh, what do you mean austerities? Austerities. Anybody can explain that? Give me the meaning. Austerities. You take some trouble to do something, no? Like, in Ekadashi.
Tapas?
Huh?
Tapas? Is it equal to tapas?
Yeah, it's like tapas. You do, voluntarily, you do some, take some trouble to do something. Voluntary. Nobody forces you. Like if you want to follow Ekadashi, that time Ekadashi, they say don't eat grains. So you voluntarily, you don't want to take grains because you want to perform Ekadashi thing. That process. So nobody is forcing you, but there is some troubles like getting up early in the morning or trying to chant 116 rounds. It is not that easy, but still you voluntarily accept that to do. That is known as austerities. So whatever austerities that you perform should be done as an offering unto me. Okay. So here are the 4 things to do. And he says, whatever you do, you just offer with love and devotion. That's all I want. So pure devotion is not something you have to do like what is done in Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga. No, not that kind of tapas. Simple thing. You keep doing your activities wherever you are. Just think of him. And when you're on offer, it's okay, I'm doing. Or accept whatever comes to you and give away. So this is what he means here. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend. He is in me and I am also a friend to him. Because this is how he reciprocates to all the bhaktas. So he will reciprocate. Depends upon how we reciprocate to him, how we approach him. To that he will reciprocate. So he says here clearly, I'm a friend to him. He's a friend in me and I'm also a friend to him. So he himself is telling, and we know one, nor am I partial. But it might, because if you don't understand him properly, we think he's very partial or he's not equal to all. No. Either we think why there are poor people here and why they are rich, and think why some people, good people are getting difficulties, they are put into trouble. It appears like that, but it is not so. He is equal to all. And there will be a purpose for it. There is a plan and we have to accept it. How can Krishna be equal to all and but partial to his devotees? Because they love him and he will reciprocate accordingly. Even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. So when you think like this, when you read this sentence, this verse in isolation, they will think, okay, anything you do, you can do some sinful activities, but because he will pardon us. It's not like that. Because once you are taken to do devotional service with thing, but you might slip in some way or the other. But he will take care, he will pardon you, because you are already fixed in to do the devotional service. There might be some mistakes you might make, but he knows that ultimately you will come back to him. So then even if one commits, but he is patient, he is so tolerant. That is how he is, very tolerant. Because even you see the next chapter, next verse, he says, he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunta, declare it boldly that my devotees never perishes. So you might think that Draupadi went to him only in distress, maybe not. No, she went, but she was a true devotee. Okay, but he said there might be people who might make some mistakes, I think, but still they will come back to me because they will understand that what they have done is wrong and they will quickly try to do things. So because they are firm, no, they want to do devotional service. They have taken that decision. So they will try to live with that. In such decisions, he says, they will never perish. So he will take. Okay. Till now, any doubts? Hare Krishna. Manmana bhava bhakto madhyam mam namaskaro mam evashyasi yukta evam atmanam mat parayana. So this is what he keeps telling us. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, offer obeisances and worship me, being completely absorbed in me, surely will come to me. Doesn't mean you have to take sannyas. While doing also, you can always think. Well, many of time now you will be doing some work in the kitchen or think your mind will be wandering here and there, or you're wandering to think. He says you keep you engaged in thinking of me, offer obeisances and worship me. Then you absorbed in me, you will come to me. So only by practice association. Lord personally reciprocates with his devotees, bringing them closer to him. The more and more desire you have for him, then he will find ways and means to help you. So this is the confidential knowledge, how to Ananya Bhakti. And this relation to material world we saw and the ways to approach him. Just patram palam pushpam and do things for him and think him all the observed him. So there are 9 processes in devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Dashyam, Vandanam, Sakyam, and Nath. You can take any one of them, but you can start off for us, the beginners. We can focus on the Shravana, hearing. Kirtanam is the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Vishnu Samar, remembering him in all our activities. Start with these 3, and then we can practice. By practicing and by working with the sadhana, we can slowly rise in this Ananya Bhakti. So we looked at demigod worship, deity worship. The goal of life is to be free from cycle of birth and death. For that, we gave us the king of knowledge, Rajya Vidya, about the Ananya Bhakti. That means always remember Krishna. This is the underneath thing, and all that saying what he's telling right from about Bhakti. So, and it is blissful. Why we say the devotionals, we can positively engage our senses, and it is very simple to perform. And God only wants love and nothing else. And there are ABCD principles which we have chalked out by Prabhupada, key spiritual practices. That is, association of devotees will help us in remembering Krishna. Books and scriptures will understand about the glorification of the Lord, glories of the Lord. And chanting, that's one which is really required for us to purify ourselves. Then deity worship, and also eating prasad and engage in work for the Lord. Okay. With this, we close. Vancha kalpatra abhyascha kripa sindhavevacha patitam nam pavnebhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. We chant and be happy. I hope at least you will do one round. Is there any